Right, metalheads, this is DJ REM, and I have Max Carlisle on the line, and we're talking about his solo project he's working on. Okay, so what pushed you to this whole whole solo thing?
Well, obviously I had played in a lot of other bands. I'm originally from Seattle, so I played in bands up there, and then about 2007 I moved down to Los Angeles. And, playing in, I played in some thrash groups. I played in Death Riders, which is Neil Turbin from Anthrax, his current band. I played in that band for a little while. And as far as the solo stuff, I always had a lot of ideas in my head, and they weren't just ideas for riffs, it would be an idea for a full song. I've just always had a very clear vision of what I want to do musically. So it just seemed like, a solo project or a solo band, just, it was an outlet for the stuff I wanted to create musically, and I still enjoy collaborating with other people, and, Hellion gives me that opportunity. But, the solo stuff is something that, I can always do it, if something comes up and I have to, go on tour for a long period of time or work on another project, I can always come back to my solo project and it'll be there.
Right, very cool. So when a guy like you that's in a band and then you decide to do your solo thing, how do you pull people together to help you with that?
Well, sometimes it can be a challenge, and I've gone through. I won't say I've gone through a lot of people in my solo band. Bass players, for instance. So I've had a few bass players kind of come and go in the band, and it's just a matter of finding the right people, because sometimes not everybody wants to be in a band where they don't have a lot of creative input, as far as the songwriting and that kind of stuff. But some people do like that, some people, maybe they've got a lot of stuff going on in their life, or they just are the kind of person who they just want to, learn the material and show up and have a good time and rock out, and so it works out. So no, it's just a matter of finding the right people. And the band I've got, the live band I've got now, I'm really, really happy with. Very
cool. So, okay, let's talk about this this current EP, Full Metal Thunder. I'm sitting here looking at the cover art, and it's very cool. What was the thought process behind when you designed the cover?
Well, obviously I have the music done first, and it was, I don't know, in the mixing process or something, but 80-90% done, and I just wanted a cover that was obviously going to match the theme of the music. And so I found somebody who had an old military truck and the machine gun guitar, which is actually a functioning guitar, although it's really hard to play.
I was just going to ask you if it actually plays.
Yeah, no, it works, and I've actually got as if it wasn't over the top enough. I actually have a laser, like a green laser that's attached to the headstock of that guitar.
Nice.
When you're playing, you're doing a solo or something, you flip that thing on with some fog, and you got this huge, green laser beam shooting off the stage and that kind of stuff. So no, it's obviously I just wanted something that was going to fit the vibe of the music, and I think it came out great. I think it gets people's attention.
I'm trying to read your coat. Does it say Judas Priest?
Oh yeah, that jacket. Yeah, Judas Priest patch on there.
Sweet.
Sort of thing.
And not to be weird or anything, but your mohawk's awesome, dude.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Well, I also have a mohawk. It's not that badass, though.
Just takes time, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so what is going on with you right now? Do you have anything lined up? Any shows for the solo project?
In all honesty, for the solo project, I really don't at the moment. I've been working on, like I said, like a sort of a compilation album, which involves remixing and remastering a lot of my older material. Plus, there's new songs that are going to be released on it as well. So I've been working on finishing up that, and the Hellion stuff has really been keeping me really busy. I just did a benefit show with Ann and Scott from Hellion. It was, a charity type thing. Went really well, and it was actually a really cool event. Chris Broderick and Dave Lombardo were also there, so it was cool to kind of rub elbows with those guys. And then we've got some some other dates coming up. We're playing Rocklahoma at the end of May, and there's going to be some more touring coming up after that. So that's not to say I didn't tour in support of Full Metal Thunder. I did quite a few dates and some stuff in the Midwest, and it went really well. But I'm just I spread myself too thin sometimes.
You're a busy man.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, man. So, what kind of influences have you had, or did you have in your life that that got you into the whole metal thing and made you want to do something like this?
Well, as far as influences, I mean, it all came just from listening to metal and discovering new bands that blew my mind. Because I was involved in music at a young age, but it was the stuff you do in school. It was like classical music or jazz or whatever. And obviously, it's hard to go to school and learn about Megadeth and that kind of stuff. So it was all just friends would give me tapes or CDs or whatever, and I'd hear something. I'm just like, oh man, that's amazing. First time I heard Manowar, or like Accept, and all these great bands, that just kind of opened up my ears to different sounds. And once you listen to enough stuff, you kind of start, you get your own ideas in your head, and you get an idea of the stuff you want to create yourself. So I mean, I can look at bands like, obviously, Judas Priest is a big influence. Yngwie Malmsteen, not just as a guitar player, but the way he writes his songs and does arrangements and things like that.
Okay, very good. So, where's a good place for people to find out more about you? What social networking websites do you use?
Well, the easiest place is just to go to my official website, which is Maxxwell.com, and it's Maxxwell spelled with 3 X's.com. And if you go to the site, obviously there's links on there to all the, to Facebook and YouTube, and I think I'm on Twitter and Reverb Nation and all that stuff. So that's, I'd say go there first, and then you can find all the other stuff from that. Or, just jump on Facebook and search for Maxxwell Carlisle. I'll come up.
Yeah, I did that tonight, and it was like right there. So
cool. It
was very easy. As soon as you throw the 3 X's in your name, it's boom, it's there. It's like the only thing.
Good.
So, what as far as this EP goes, where did you record this at, and who did you use to like master and stuff?
Yeah, well, it's actually a little bit of a complicated process because the singer lives out in the Nashville area. So what we had to do was obviously the guitars and bass and things like that I recorded over here in LA, and then I would have to book studio time for him over in Nashville. He would go to the studio, and I would send him like scratch tracks of, vocal lines and things like that. So he would go in the studio, record his parts, then the studio would send them to me. Then I would have to listen back to it and see if it was good the way it was, or in some cases we had to make changes, and so we'd have to book another session, So it was kind of a long process to get all that stuff done, but it was basically recorded, in Nashville and in LA, and then I did the bulk of the mixing, and then I used a company based out of Portland for the mastering.
Okay, very cool. Well, hey, you know what? How about the beauty of the internet to be able to send ideas back and forth,
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, not that long ago, that stuff would have been impossible. You would have been mailing CDs or whatever,
Right.
It's like a nightmare.
Put a tape in the mail,
Yeah, right.
So, okay, here's a question for you. If I grabbed your iPod or MP3 player, however you like to listen to music, what bands would I find you listening to right now?
Well, okay, I'll be totally honest. I have been just like swimming in the cheese of like Italian power metal, like Rhapsody. I've been listening to a ton of Rhapsody lately, and like Luca Turilli's solo project. I love like overproduced power metal stuff. There's a band called Glory Hammer,
Yep.
which is kind of new, and that kind of stuff. And then what else? I mean, I've got a lot of hair metal, the stuff, that I consider like the better stuff, like Mr. Big and bands like that. And, I've got some, some good thrash stuff, old Megadeth, things like that. It's pretty, I guess most of it's pretty standard stuff, but then probably about half my iPod is filled up with just shredder stuff, like Yngwie and Kristen Pelletieri and like George Bellis and guys like that.
Very good. So what would you say sets you apart from all the other guys out there out shredding? What do people get when they come see you live?
Well, I think the thing, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to rag on, a bunch of the current metal bands or metal artists or anything, but I really kind of feel like people take themselves too seriously sometimes. And, I go out there and I perform, and I want to have a great time myself, and I want the audience to have a great time. So I like to put on a show, and I mean, sometimes people will, the elitist metal community will stand back and look at what I'm doing, and they'll be like, "Oh man, this guy, he's way over the top, he's just, doing stuff that's crazy or whatever," and sometimes not take what I'm doing seriously, but I take what I do seriously. But at the same time, it's supposed to be entertainment. I want people to have a good time. So yeah, when you come to my show, I mean, you're going to see a great high energy live show. I try to write songs that are catchy, that get stuck in people's heads. And, another thing, as a shredder, sometimes you can fall into the trap where you're writing music that only musicians can appreciate, and so it's easy to get too progressive and things like that. And I try to avoid that. I mean, I do some of that, like I've done some instrumental stuff, but, I like to make fun, accessible metal, that still kicks ass.
Very cool. Well, I tell you, at least myself for one, I love the instrumental metal. I actually had a band on my show last Wednesday night called No Tomorrow, and that's all they do is instrumental metal, and it's amazing.
Nice.
There's a lot of bands out there that I could just take the vocals out and be perfectly happy with.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So what's the craziest thing that you're willing to share that's ever happened at a live show you've done?
Oh, man.
It doesn't have to be bad either.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always just like nightmarish technical problems that you have, your amps blow up, or like you switch guitars, because like the song's in a different tuning and you grab the wrong guitar, and so you like break into the song and it's like completely not even close to being in the right key. I mean, stuff like that has happened. I played in a band, like before I moved to LA, when I was up in Seattle, I played in a band called Graceful Chaos. And I got this wacky idea to make a flamethrower guitar, okay? And it wasn't a functioning guitar, but I took a guitar, it was like a cheap Les Paul copy, and I cut a big chunk of the body out on the back of the guitar where I could fit in one of those small propane canisters. And then it had a little valve on the bottom and this hose that went up the back of the neck. It was like impossible to play because it had all this crap all over it. But you would light this thing, and then you'd flip the valve on the bottom, and it would shoot this huge, like, 10-foot flame out of the top of the thing. And I actually used this one time at I forget the name of the place. It was some small club, but it had a really high stage and a really low ceiling, right? So there wasn't much clearance like on the top of the above the flame, and so I shot this thing off, and what ended up happening was I didn't set anything on fire, but somebody called the police and like called the fire department and all this stuff, and they came out, and for some reason I got out of there before anything weird happened. But the singer, of course, the singer of the band, and like our roadie, like ended up having to do a bunch of community service and like do this big formal apology to the fire chief, and it was like this huge, it was this huge deal because of this flamethrower guitar. But the funny thing was, I built a guitar and I used it, and I never got in any trouble, so I just got lucky, I guess.
It worked out for you.
Yeah.
And of course, somebody would call the police and the fire department.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, guys, don't you want to see a show? See, the problem is that was still when, all the grunge bands were still playing, so it was like nobody wanted to see, a big rock and roll show. They just wanted to be, staring at their shoes and that kind of thing. So, I don't know.
I will not further comment on that because I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, is there anything else you would like to tell all the listeners about Maxxxwell Carlisle that I have not asked?
Not really. Just, I already plugged the website, but obviously if you go on there, maxxwell.com, there's a web store on there, so you can buy all my releases, on physical CDs as well as downloads and things like that. And I've just reissued my instrumental CD. So that was kind of out of print for a year or two, and so you can get that again. And then the other thing is, check out the band Hellion. It's kind of along the lines of, kind of along the lines of Dio or Accept or Wasp, that kind of stuff. And we've got some new music that's going to be coming out really soon. There's a 2-disc anthology that just came out. Going to be doing some major touring, so I think anybody who likes metal and likes the classic metal bands will love that Hellion stuff. Yeah,
well, definitely check out Maxxxwell and also check out Hellion because both bands do kick ass. And I want to thank you once again for taking time to call in. I actually have the Call of the Metal and Marching with the Dragons queued up next. So as soon as we go off air here, those tracks will be blasting into their ears. And
nice.
I also want to give a big shout out before I forget to Lords of PR for hooking me up with you. Those guys rock.
Yep, absolutely.
So, okay, if you can just hang on the line for a minute.
Sure, no problem, man. Thank you very much.
All right, metalheads, this is DJ Rem with the Crush Beyond Dust Show live on Metal Devastation Radio, and that was Maxxxwell Carlisle, and I'm going to throw you some tracks now, so crank it up, don't go anywhere.
Steel, the crown of gold is in my side.